the Second World War, and emerging from nearly 4 decades of brutal Japanese occupation, the Korean Peninsula found itself torn between 2 foreign ideologies, from the Soviet Union and the United States. Following Japan's defeat in 1945, the Soviet Union occupied the communist wing of the Korean resistance, all of the land north of the 38th parallel, while the United States occupied Korea south of the line. The communist North was equipped with over 200,000 armed veterans who fought alongside Mao Zedong's Chinese Red Army against the Japanese, and then against Chiang Kai-shek in China's own bloody civil war. Their leader was Kim Il-sung, who saw the United States appointing former Japanese collaborators to top leadership positions in the South. His intent was to unite Korea under one communist ideology. By contrast, the unstable South was ill-equipped to defend itself compared to the battle-seasoned and well-supplied North. From 1945 to 1950, the South, under the leadership of Syngman Rhee, suffered massive civil unrest, often dealing with popular demonstrations with violent police retaliation, employing tactics reminiscent of the Japanese occupation. Following years of cross-border raids and skirmishing along the 38th parallel, Kim Il-sung invaded the South on June 25, 1950, behind a barrage of artillery fire. Syngman Rhee was forced to flee Seoul 2 days later. On the 3rd day of fighting, the South bombed the bridge crossing the Han River and were in full retreat from the North's advance. On the day of the invasion in 1950, the United Nations Security Council in New York roundly condemned North Korea's action, with veto-wielding Russia infamously absent from the session. 2 days later, Security Council Resolution 83 was passed, recommending UN member states assist South Korea militarily. And with that, American President Harry Truman ordered the U.S. Navy and Air Force, based mostly in Japan at the time, into action on behalf of the South. Less than 2 months since the invasion began, Kim Il-sung had driven the South Korean and U.S. forces to Busan in the southeast corner of the peninsula, and was expecting an imminent and total victory in the war. At the time, China decided to position more than 250,000 of its troops along its Korean border, should the conflict escalate and the North's advance be repelled. After weeks of fighting around Busan, the U.S. had significantly reinforced the South, while American bombers degraded the supply lines and troop strength of the North. The army of Kim Il-sung was forced to retreat. Only 25,000 North Korean soldiers ever managed to rejoin their northern ranks. The South's counterattack successfully pushed across the 38th parallel and, along with U.S. forces, captured the North Korean capital of Pyongyang. In response, China ordered its troops to cross into North Korea and repel the South Korean counteroffensive on October 25, 1950. Following 2 months of brutally contested warfare, U.S. and South Korean forces were expelled from North Korea back across the 38th parallel. By January 4, 1951, North Korea had captured Seoul for a second time. However, as before following its invasion of the South in June 1950, North Korea lacked the logistical support to supply any further pursuit of the South. This gave U.S. and South Korean troops time to quickly regroup, rearm, and retake Seoul. After 6 weeks of back-and-forth fighting, the U.S. launched a full-scale assault against the North Korean and Chinese forces in February 1951. For the rest of the year, fighting continued around the 38th parallel, steadily degrading into World War I-style trench warfare, brutal and mechanical. As casualties mounted on both sides, efforts at negotiating a ceasefire grew. However, several attempts at diplomacy were thwarted throughout 1952 and into 1953. With Korean civilian casualties approaching 3 million, a proposal was finally accepted by the United Nations and an armistice agreement was signed on July 27, 1953. The result led the embittered North and South Koreans to create a demilitarized zone roughly along the 38th parallel, which has perpetuated the hostility of the two countries for 6 decades, and counting.
Good evening, America. I'm Scott Binsack, CEO and founder of March for America. Thank you for joining me. It is April 25th, 2017.
Have you ever wondered why?
And we have videos playing in the background. And we don't need that. Have a nice day. So, sorry about that. The reason why I played this opening video, and if you guys get a chance to go back and watch it again, it's only 5 minutes. It's very key. If you see the strategy that was used there, the Chinese loaded up on the North Korean border, as they have now already with 150,000 plus troops. And after Korea was losing and had to retreat, China came into North Korea and sent the U.S. and South Korea back. So basically, they originally put troops on the border just in case that North Korea would be retreating back, or they claimed that for North Korea to be retreating back, possibly into China. They then in turn flipped the switch and invaded on behalf of North Korea, to push back the United States and South Korea. Sound familiar? Sounds very familiar. We have Chinese troops on a North Korean border. We have our own armada there, now a nuclear submarine to reach there tomorrow. And things are heating up as Trump and team have met with UN and Security Council officials. Pence has come home early, and we are looking at basically a standoff with Korea as we speak. Kim is threatening to turn an aircraft carrier to ashes, which I find very hard to believe. The only ashes this man would turn to ashes is, himself. Dust to dust. He's playing with serious fire, and I believe if he does set off another nuclear test, and China does not strike him for this or take him out, we will be striking North Korea and going to war again with North Korea. However, this time, I believe it will be swift and large, and not drawn out. All war is going to be somewhat drawn out. However, hopefully we don't have to use nuclear missiles, nuclear bombs. Yes, and they're meeting with the Senate tomorrow as well, which, just so you know, that was not called by Trump team, okay? Just so you know. That meeting with the Senate was not called by Trump team. I put an article up of how it was truly called. Regardless, they're meeting with the Senate, which is very important, and I believe it will be not just about Korea, but a large part will be about Korea, but other matters as well. We have put major sanctions on Assad in Syria, still claiming that he is responsible for this chemical attack, which I highly disagree with, and so does evidence highly disagree with, as does Russia and Assad. Over 200 and some odd sanctions are on Syria, and I'm going to explain to you something that's happening in Syria right now. And I'm going to give you some inside information as well as my belief of what's going to happen in Syria. Assad has moved his air force onto Russian bases, thus on Russian territory. At the same time, Russia is beefing up its air defenses even further in South Korea. Now the word is that Iran and Russia are going to put boots on the ground. Okay? Boots are supposed to be on the ground shortly, or even happening as we speak. Not that they haven't put boots on the ground already. I'm talking about large amounts of boots on the ground from Iran and Russia. However, I believe this to be already possibly even negotiated as this. Everybody is saber rattling here, and there could be the possibility that we go to full-scale war in Syria with Turkey, with us, with the British, the Australians. However, what I see happening is that Assad is going to be left with a small part of Syria, and in part of where Russia's bases are as well, and the rest is going to be caught up, and the United States will eventually, with Saudi Arabia and Turkey, get the peace that they want in all of this. That's what is behind the scenes going on, that there could be a deal in Syria with Russia. However, that is just a proposal. That does not mean it's going to be accepted, but it's what's not really being mentioned out in mainstream media. I do not see Russia giving in and giving up Assad. They are going to protect him. And I do not see Kim not standing up with his own people, to his own people, to save face and end up in probably going to end up in a full-scale war. And if it's going to happen, we will probably strike Wednesday on the 26th. I have had for a while, keep saying this week, the 26th, the next few days. People wanted me to pinpoint it down. I'm saying the 26th. If anything happens, it will be Wednesday. There's a lot of things that can happen this week and are happening besides North Korea. North Korea is a major matter, but there are other major matters going on as well, especially having to do with Russiagate, as we want to call it, and as it's become. We have Mr. Chaffetz. He is being dragged in, and I foresee he will be resigning, not at the end of his tenure, but possibly almost immediately this week or by the beginning of next week. This is based on information that has come to light that he has had a long-time affair on his wife. As well, it's been held over him, as well as he took illegal campaign proceedings, funds, which they're going to allege came from Donald Trump, just so you know. Meaning Trump team at all and a Trump corporation. This is what they're going to allege. But the main reason why he's going is because, and they believe that he's been under Russian blackmail by Putin. This Russiagate matter, as I'm sure many people have seen, the Senate Investigation Committee, there's articles today that it's imploding, that it's no good, it's going nowhere, that it's stalled. Please, everybody, pay attention to this. This matter here is so big, and now today it has been announced, as I tried to respectfully tell everybody for the longest time, that Flynn is going to go down in flames, and they're going to tie him to this Russiagate matter. Flynn has now been ordered, as well as documents regarding Flynn have been ordered to be viewed by the investigation committee as well. I shared that post today. They're going full force on this, but who's going really full force is the FBI. It is Comey. And as I've said 2 weeks ago, you have Comey involved with this. You have the New York State Attorney General involved with this, with RICO statutes. And if we go down the list here, let's think about this. Nunes is gone. Boom, dropped. Temporary resigned. He'll never be back. Trust me. He's not coming back. Nunes gone. Sessions, recused. Boom. Chaffetz, on his way out. He's finished. Have a nice day. Boom. Who's next? Burr. Okay? Senator Burr is on his way. They're going to come after him next and drop him off the block. Have a nice day. Something key that I shared about 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to bring you to it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring you to let me get on the homepage here of MFA because all the news is here. And I can pop it out of there. I like doing that. It's a lot easier now for me. Give me a second. And then I can go through story by story with you because they're all feeding together. This week is a major week in all avenues, from North Korea and war to Syria to there we are. Okay. There's that great pic of Donald Trump the other night, and I will tell this to everybody. You know, if you can see this picture, I want to discuss this quickly here. Give me a second. Okay. This picture. I was a few feet away from this man. Okay. And I don't know about you, but what I saw and what I've seen and what I've heard and what I even heard him speak, and I'll leave it at that. He is not looking well. He is tired. He is stressed. And he is, I believe, completely down a rabbit hole of not being fed the correct information. And a Trump coup is completely, I fully believe, underway. And you'll be seeing more of that as this week goes on. You can see here I have launched, and we have launched the March for America Inc. Justice Civil Action. I'll go over that later with you. Now, there's a bunch of reports I'll go over about Obama having to do with Iran, and they're very... Here is the Senate story. The whole Senate is being briefed on North Korea on Wednesday. Wednesday may not be in time. Wednesday may not be in time. And it may be a distraction as well to the truth, meaning when we are going to strike. Wednesday may not be enough time. We may strike before that. Now, we may not strike at all. However, unless China comes out of the box, and the reason why I played you the history again of North Korea is China did the same thing during the last Korean War, put the troops, stationed them on its border, and then thereafter, when things got tough for North Korea, they came right over the border and fought for North Korea, and China could pull a rope-a-dope on us as well this time. And we could end up in a full-blown war. Just saying. North Korea is not that old. I mean, we're in the 50s, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 60 years ago. So the Senate briefing, and just so you know, the Senate briefing was done. Mitch McConnell's office is the one who brought this meeting. And people then thought right away when they heard this, the clarification may be to tamp down on speculation that the administration is considering imminent military action in Korea. Regardless of this meeting or not, we are considering imminent military action in North Korea. That's very clear. But I wanted you to know this was not Trump team that called this meeting to do it. It was Mitch McConnell. And most people believe, as I had stated previously, that actual calculated military action is far too risky because it would result in massive destruction of loss in life of both North Korea and South Korea. One war game convened by the Atlantic back in 2005 predicted that a North Korean attack would kill 100,000 people in Seoul in the first few days alone, Alex Ward wrote. I agree. And as I said, a lot of Kim's deadliest actions could come from sleeper cells already set in South Korea. Now, wow, Fred shared a picture here of heading into the DMZ zone in 1971. I just saw it here. It's below the Korean picture. Very cool, Fred. Thank you for sharing. Here, I'll blow it up for everybody. And there's another picture from Fred. I guess you guys can see that. Thank you for sharing, Fred Farbin. Let me see if I can... It's behind me now. That's the one in the demilitarization. Here's another one. Very cool. This, regardless of anything, this is not going to be a very good... Will we win? Yes. Now, let's change directions here a little bit. This was broken today and sent to me, and I want to thank our member who got this to me right away when it broke.
Yeah.
I want you all to listen to this. This is very serious, and then I followed up with one of our investigative reporters that we outreach to. Give me 1 sec. I'll zoom in on this video. This is a very serious matter that has come to light having to do with Obama once again. And it's being called Extortion 17, Tragedy and Cover-Up by Obama. And this is Montgomery's lawyer here. So I want to listen to this again. This is very good, and it is very accurate, and this is something...
My name is Larry Klayman. I'm the founder of both Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch. I'm now the chairman and general counsel of Freedom Watch. I'm also a former federal prosecutor. Now, many years ago, we met families who were victimized by a huge tragedy in Afghanistan called Extortion 17, the largest loss of life in the Afghan war. 3 months after the alleged death of Osama bin Laden, and of course many people think that he wasn't actually killed in that fateful raid, that he may have died of natural causes before, and that's because the Obama administration never released a photo of the body. There was no reason not to do that. That notwithstanding, 30 servicemen, 22 special ops, SEAL Team 6 members went down in flames in a Chinook helicopter in the Tangi Valley. And there were many unanswered questions. We have 3 families who are our clients: the Charlie Strange family, the Doug Hamburger family, and the Sid Dugandara family. They had brave sons who went down in that tragedy. And what was unexplained, because the families got the crash report through us, was that number one, the government claimed, this is the Obama administration, the Obama Defense Department, run by the corrupt Leon Panetta, who I uncovered during my years at Judicial Watch, had obstructed justice with regard to the Chinagate scandal. He was then White House Chief of Staff.
Panetta's dirty as hell.
Clinton. They claim there were no eyes in the sky. That eyes in the sky protect these missions because they're able to look on the ground and see whether or not, in this case, Taliban are approaching and they're a threat. After the crash occurred, they claimed there was no black box, that you could tell the reasons for the crash. Of course, there has to be a black box, and it was claimed that a flood washed the black box away. Well, there's never been a flood in Afghanistan since Noah's Ark. That's how dry it is. Thirdly, 7 Afghan commandos were substituted out. They go on these joint missions, the United States and Afghanistan, as required by our protocol with Afghanistan. 7 were substituted out at the last minute of this mission, and 7 inserted in the flight. The manifest doesn't identify who they are. Then it was claimed that the copter was shot down by an RPG. It had actually been hovering for about 13 minutes over the crash site. And to make matters even worse, when the bodies were sent back to Dover Air Force Base, which is where they come after a tragedy like this, at the Afghan Air Force facility, at our air base there, a Muslim cleric gave a prayer, which when translated, had condemned our client's sons to hell as infidels. This was typically Obama, because he was very sympathetic to Muslim interests, not sympathetic
He is a Muslim.
Non-Muslim interests. And in fact, our rules of engagement, and this was the biggest problem, didn't allow our soldiers to shoot on terrorists or even Muslims that were aiding the terrorists unless they were shot on first. Now, all of this stood out there, and we were instrumental at Freedom Watch in starting a congressional investigation, which was started by Congressman Jason Chaffetz of the Government Oversight and Reform Committee. He was deputy chairman then. He's now become the chairman. And at that hearing, and Chaffetz refused to allow our clients to even testify. It was totally disrespectful about their sons. Nothing came out. It was complete whitewash. It was a joke. Nothing occurred. But most recently, years later, a whistleblower has come forward by the name of Jody Marquez. She's a very decorated Air Force targeter. She was in a C-130, and she was eyes in the sky. She was there with her pilot, and they observed what went on. And they observed that, in fact, the Taliban had been regrouping, but there was no need to actually continue on this mission because the Army Rangers who were on the ground had already taken care of the issue with regard to the terrorists in many ways. And they called command and they said, we need to call this mission off before it's too late. And this very slow, antiquated Chinook helicopter, a Chinook, 1962 vintage, was hovering for 13 minutes. And she observed it being shot down by an RPG, and so did the co-pilot.
Yikes.
Well, this was covered up by the Obama Defense Department. It was covered up by now Chairman Jason Chaffetz of the Government Oversight and Reform Committee. And this is a major scandal because it's an obstruction of justice. And frankly, it's an outrage with regard to our fallen heroes. heroes that gave their life for the American people and gave their life for freedom. So watch what happens with this scandal, because we're not done. Congressman Chaffetz is going to get an ethics complaint at the House Ethics Committee. There should be an investigation by the Justice Department into this cover-up. Heads should roll. This is criminal. You cannot allow this kind of thing to happen in our country, particularly with our heroes and their families who have never gotten answers. They've been crushed. Some of them have undergone psychological counseling. It's a terrible thing. But if it can serve some good into the future, because the rules of engagement need to be changed under President Trump, we want him to pay close attention to this, and I'm sure that he will. There was a video that was done by Circuit News last week. We're going to include it in this YouTube so you can watch it, where an interview of Air Force targeter Jody Marquez occurs. You need to rise up. You need to contact Freedom Watch. We need to band together, because we're likely going into more wars here, and we need to have our brave and best protected. They need to be able to fight back. They can't be hamstrung by rules of engagement that, frankly, have a Muslim life worth more than any other life.
Bravo.
And this is what's a problem here, and this is why Obama's war in Afghanistan per capita killed and maimed more people than in any history, in a war in any history in the United States. Obama is in effect a war criminal, and so are the people around him. So contact Freedom Watch. Go to our website at freedomwatchusa.org. freedomwatchusa.org. See what we're doing. Contribute to our cause. Because if there's anything good that came out of this tragedy, is to save the lives of our best and brightest, our servicemen, into the future. God bless you, God bless America, and God save America.
Bravo. This is a very serious breaking matter, and I want everybody to understand this is not why Jason Chaffetz is stepping down. Just so you guys know that. That is not the main reason why he is stepping down. They haven't even filed a complaint yet. Will that help push the matter if they file this complaint? And I've reached out to Larry, and I'm trying to get Larry on our new show that's coming. We're going to be starting our new shows with guests. So I'd like to get Larry on, as well as to push that matter and the Montgomery, and get him and question him, as to what's going on with Montgomery and where that issue is stalled. I have information on that it has been deliberately basically cast aside, and they have blackballed Montgomery and Larry from his organization. And that's what's happening. They're blackballing them. They have not looked at the evidence, and that is all on Comey. That is all on Comey to protect Obama. Obama's spy operation, spy ring, as you want to call, with Rice. Notice there's no talk about Rice today. There's no talk about anything. It's Obama making a new speech, and Obama is going after the youth in this country. Listen to what he said today. That man, and I'm not playing it on, I don't want to play that man on my show. I hate him. He's talking about going after our youth in the United States. He wants to attack the youth for his new movement and for the new party that he's creating. There's lots of talk about Berkeley. I'll get into that in a minute, in a little later, excuse me. We have Donald Trump's contract with the American voter. He's getting smashed. He'll get smashed all week on this, going up to the 100th day. But I believe war is imminent, and it's not a funny matter, and I believe this is going to take a back seat. No one wants to see innocent people get killed, but I believe if Kim is left on his own, he's going to end up killing many, many more than if we were to strike them now and get it over with. That is just my opinion. Because leaving this man in power and letting him continue to create, not create, but he is creating the technology to put armed nuclear missiles, ballistic missiles with nuclear device is very, very dangerous. They already can create the nuclear device. They already have, I will say primitively made when I say that he can detonate on ground a nuclear device. So, let's give you an example. If we were to invade South Korea on the ground, which I don't think it would come to that, but if we were, Kim could, implode the area. So there's always a risk here with all of that. That's why if the United States goes in there, or China or both of us, the country needs to be taken out fast, and Kim needs to be, once Kim's gone, the rest of the military will step right down. Boom, 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 they're done. So the idea is to just take him out with as little casualties as possible, but they will launch off. They have a 7 to 8 minute window for us to take out all their artillery, and that they will hit South Korea hard, as well as whatever sleeper cells they have there. And they very well may possible have nuclear capabilities of, we'll say, suitcase devices, small devices, to have a nuclear device go off in South Korea. In Seoul, this is the submarine heading, the U.S. nuclear-powered submarine to join USS Carl Vinson. And it is on its way. It'll be there shortly. We're going to see a lot of more popping up now. Hidden Iran deal with Obama. This is going to keep popping up and keep going as Rex Tillerson and them are looking into the Iran deal and the truth. And if you ever wanted to get Obama for anything, this is where you could get Obama, as even Larry from Judicial Watch was saying about Obama has covered up so many things, especially when it has to do with Iran, Benghazi, Iran deal. And Politico is a very good article on that. And by dropping charges against major arms targets, the administration infiltrated Justice Department officials, and undermined its own counter-proliferation task force. A lot of stuff going out. Here is something very key. And I shared 2 weeks ago an article from Spain and Russia on Twitter and on Facebook. Okay? And we talked about Flynn. I've been talking about Flynn for a long time. The first part of this is Chad Pergram, well-known journalist, reporter for Fox News. My screen is not going to, I'll have to put it back to its normal size. House Oversight members invited to view classified documents related to General Michael Flynn tomorrow morning. It's right there. This is where you're going to see Flynn explode. Okay? Explode. This is the beginning of the takedown of General Flynn. And this is why General Flynn wanted immunity, and the FBI is right behind them on General Flynn. I'm surprised they may even have, and I'm being told there possibly could be a sealed indictment already for Flynn. Just saying. Carter Page as well. Now, here is a key part of Russiagate. And weeks ago, I shared this article. I'm sorry, I went from one to the other. I didn't mean to jump on everybody. I shared this article from Spain, and I don't want to pull it up right now, but it's on my wall. Many of you probably have seen it, and it shows that our man here was arrested and detained in Spain, okay? Levashov, that's one of the names he goes by, a.k.a. Levashov was detained in Spain on a U.S. fugitive warrant, okay? I shared the story first from Spain and from Russia in Russian language. You'll find it on this wall. People said, that's fake news, that's not happening, that's not it, and now. It's not even just been confirmed by Sputnik, it's been confirmed by many news organizations. And the reason why this is so key, I'm going to explain it to you right now. I'm going to open this up. Let me get the screen in the right, so everybody can see this. This is very key to what's about to happen. And when I shared this, I said how key it was, and everybody's like, of course. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to listen. They live in a rabbit hole. Okay? The reason why this story is so key, and when I put it out about Spain, they're like, oh, this is fake. This man, Lavashov, okay? Lavashov is going to be and is being accused. Acting Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Trevor McFadden said that Russian programmer Petr Lavashov, accused by U.S. authorities of internet fraud, is facing an indictment on new charges. Do you know what the new charges are? And I said this before this has ever hit the news. These new charges are that he hacked the U.S. election for Trump team et al. And he hacked it. This is what they're going to say. Here, a jury in Connecticut just yesterday has returned an indictment on 8 counts. So guess what? He's already indicted for hacking, and it's sealed. Okay, this is a sealed indictment right here. It's not going to be opened yet. When they open it, you're going to find out that he's being accused and that they found him substantial prima facie case to indict him on 8 counts of hacking. And you're going to see this tie back too. This is huge. And this is the key I tried to point out then. And everybody said it's fake news. Not fake news. That's okay? They're going to come back and you're going to see, and this is not the Senate Investigation Committee, this is the FBI is going to say the following. And this is why we have Julian Assange involved in this as well. Okay? They're going to say that Lavashov hacked into, in the summertime, hacked into the DNC computer system and even Podesta's emails. They're going to say via Russian hackers, they hacked in, as well as that Lavashov hacked into the U.S. election system, not the individual machines in the states, but that of the vote count in the states. You'll see what I'm talking about. And this is what this internet fraud is about. They want to get this guy to flip his switch and to talk. They're going to claim that a server, let's put it this way. Let me see how I can explain this. In simple form. They're going to say that a Russian bank server at Trump Towers was sending emails to another server, this information to another server, and that back end to get that to Julian Assange, and Julian Assange to get that out and release that from the information. Okay? This Russian particular bank is tied to Jeff Sessions, Trump, etc. I'm just telling you what they're going to say. Okay? And now, they're calling here that the detention of Russian program prepared by U.S. over several years. I'm telling you the back end of this is they're going to say that this man right here is the hacker into our election system. Just wait when they unseal these indictments and what they're going to be claiming. This is huge, and this is key. This is key to their whole Trump coup here. And Comey's going to say that the elections were, in fact, interrupted, manipulated by the Russians, that Trump team et al. Had contact with the Russians. Julian Assange was the one who leaked for them on behalf, just so you know, of Russia, and that Trump was aware of it. I'm letting you know it's coming. This has nothing to do with my support for Donald Trump. I'm trying to tell you what is coming, and I guarantee it'll be right on the money. It's not funny, but this is what's coming. There's much more to that story, and I'll get into that. Give me 1 second. I want to get there in 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. Now, we see this happening here with the meeting. I want you to point out to everybody in this meeting, there's Ivanka Trump sitting right at the table, right across. Ivanka is now involved in everything at the White House. everything. By the way, I forgot I'm going to be posting my daughter's exclusive video tonight of Ivanka Trump, the one that's sought out by news agencies and tabloids. It has not been sold yet or given permission for anyone. So I will post that later. I forgot to do that for her. This meeting took place today, and we had a working lunch with the ambassador of the countries on the UN Security Council, and we have Nikki Haley, who is complete left, gone leftist. I love this. This meme has got to be one of the best memes I've seen. Holy shit, Donald. Me sorry, Donald. Kim love you very long time. This meme is awesome. I love it. Holy shit. This is awesome. Gotta love it. Me sorry, Donald. Yeah, Kim love you long time. Kim, pack your shit. I don't think you're going to be around too much longer. We all knew what was going to come. Sean Hannity vows legal action after accusation on the Hill. Here we go. Sean Hannity, they're coming after him. They're trying to dismantle Fox and all the good left, right, conservative talk show hosts. They're they want him gone. And now they're coming after Hannity, as many people have said since last week. We already know that the carrier group, China's calling for restraint. I do not think you're going to see restraint in this. And for my man, and I'll just leave that, my source, there's not going to be restraint. And you even saw Pence come home early. Everything is that. And now this could be the biggest bluff in the world, but the only way you're going to stop Kim from completing his mission to have a nuclear ballistic missile program active in North Korea is to take him out. He's not going to stop unless, he's taken out. Bottom line. Now, I broke this earlier today. And no, this is not really on the internet anywhere else that I know of. This exclusive that I have. Paul Ryan is switching gears on Trump with Russiagate. Paul Ryan now is very concerned that this Russiagate matter is going to implode, and to be safe, he is sort of shifting to that side in a neutral spot so he doesn't get caught up in Russiagate. And I'm telling you, that's just what's happening. Paul Ryan is a snake. Paul Ryan is scum. Paul Ryan needs to go. Donald Trump should have never kept him. But there's many around Donald Trump now, neocons, warmongering, industrialists, from McMaster to here we go. And Comey is going to come hard, and I'm telling you all this. Comey's the biggest mistake Donald Trump ever made. I'm telling you now. Should have got rid of him. Now, one thing I did forget. There's a Russian hacking company called HostKey. HostKey is the company that our boy here, Levashov, is connected to. Okay, Petri Levashov is connected to this company, HostKey. HostKey, you can Google. It's a shell company. And now HostKey is the shell company that has to do with where the servers are attached to at all, and it goes to Ocean Wave Capital. Ocean Wave Capital is another shell that's tied for the shell company, HostKey. Ocean Wave Capital goes where? To Florida, they claim, and it has Donald Trump's handwriting all over it. I'm just telling you where this is going. I'm not telling you it's accurate. We are in the middle of verifying this, but I'm telling you that, yes, these companies, those are accurate. But they're going to say that this guy is key. And when I broke that story, everybody's like, oh, no. Yeah. Pay attention. The shit's going to hit the fan, and I believe it's going to be this Russiagate. I believe you're going to see some big breaking things this week. You're already going to see, and mostly, Chaffetz is going to be gone. I'm going to tell you what. Chaffetz, however you pronounce his name. Jason, longtime affair on his wife. It's a fact. He took a large campaign contribution of $10 million tied to the shell corporations. It's allegedly tied to Donald Trump. That's where they're going with this. I'm just letting you know. And possible blackmail by Russia. I'm almost 80. Now I'm 90% certain that he's going to be resigned before his tenure, and meaning before he's claimed, and I would say it would be this week. We'll see. We have flying cars going on. Yippee. We have our healthcare battles this week, all that. I believe all that's going to be taken over by war. We have Le Pen. She stepped down off the head of the French National Front Party. Bravo for Le Pen. People should pray for her because I'm telling you now, New World Order peeps are going to be looking to take her out. I'm telling you now. They do not want France out of the EU. And if she goes in, they will be, and you'll have another Brexit on your hands. And the EU is crumbling, as I've been saying in other shows. And the reason, and this is where you're getting what I'm calling out of chaos, a new world order, not the one that they have had planned. I believe they're Xing these plans, and it is a new world order plan, and to create massive chaos around the world, and then set in to control it all. And we're in that. We're going to have wars all over the place, whether they be small or not. And just so you know, in the African Peninsula, I shared that Trump sent in, Mattis, I should say, sent in troops to Somalia since the first time since Black Hawk Down. And now it has come out that we're going to end up with many more troops on the ground in Somalia, along right next side to the Chinese in Africa, and this is why we're there. Do not kid yourself. This is this is for us to train and back other rebel groups there, but mainly to protect and go after the natural resources in Africa and control in Somalia. And I'm just going off of that. I'm not talking about Al-Qaeda right now, but I'm talking about what's going on in Somalia because my head just thought about it. And it's important to note because we will be drawn in we are being drawn in Somalia as well. And that is so that the Chinese, who have been taking over all over the world and are heavily involved in Africa, that the U.S. has a position there to position itself with China so that China does not get a hold of every, major parts of Africa. That's what's going on in Somalia at all. That's what's going on there. I really have a bone to pick. This is just amazing. Al-Qaeda leader tells terrorists to prepare for a long guerrilla war in Syria. It's like they have a bullhorn, and the Al-Qaeda leader tells terrorists to prepare for long. The leader of the international terrorist group, Al-Qaeda, has urged jihadists fighting in Syria to unite for a holy war and to use guerrilla tactics. I believe that's what they've been doing, and my point is this. How are they allowed to just keep announcing this like they have an office someplace? Hey, how you doing? We have this office. We're here. We have an office. Can we? Al-Qaeda has a headquarters, and we're going to keep reporting on social media. Why? The government has to be, can track them in 2 seconds. Yet lets them have a mouthpiece. They let these people have a mouthpiece. It makes no sense to me. Why? Well, it makes a lot of sense to me. But my point is, if you look at it logically, don't give them a mouthpiece. Don't give them. But why they keep this up is because we're behind Al-Qaeda, ISIS at all. And we keep this going with CIA and, the intelligence agencies with other countries that are backing them with us. So this propaganda can go on. It's like, hey, hi, come on to alqaeda.com. We're here. We're going to, behead people, with ISIS, with Al-Qaeda. We're going to blow this up. We just want to let you know, and we're all good with that. For real? Come on. Al-Qaeda and ISIS, same bunch of, the whole mess is not going to stop. We're going to keep blowing them up. They're going to keep surfacing. We're going to keep blowing them up. Why? Because the ultimate war on terror is our way to continue to stay in other countries, disrupt other countries, and to keep a budget for a large military in play. So, and now we have Korea on the forefronts, let alone Syria, Afghanistan. And I'm going to tell you that the story that goes on, the story about Russia, think about it now. Here we go. This is what happens. I'm going to tell you what happened in Afghanistan. Mattis comes in, McMaster's. They want to stay in. They're warmongers. We got to stay in Afghanistan. We got to give the people a reason for us to stay in Afghanistan. They dropped the mother of all bombs. Pow. Killed maybe, 100 peeps. 100 fighters. Then at the same time, well, we need more troops on the ground over here. How do we get more troops on the ground and get the American people to buy it? Well, we tell them that Russia is supplying Al-Qaeda weapons. Russia's not supplying Al-Qaeda weapons. Al-Qaeda might have gotten their hands on Russian weapons, but Russia's not, which are all over Afghanistan. Russia had a very big, was in Afghanistan for a very long time. And Putin's already come out and said, listen, that's not us. And I agree, it's not them. You want to know why? They got to give the American people a reason. Listen, Russia's feeding Al-Qaeda weapons. Russia did it. We need more troops on the ground over there. So please, American people, just when we send them over there, we just want you to know why. Al-Qaeda's getting out of hand, and now Russia is backing them. Another proxy war for Russia? Not happening. Yes, created narratives. Exactly, Brian. This is... It's a pack your shit neighborhood over there. We don't need to belong in Afghanistan guarding poppy fields. Let's get to the bottom line. Exactly. Russia can't stand Al-Qaeda and Taliban, I'm telling you. But this is their excuse. Everything is Russia. Russia, 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 Russia. So let's just blame it on the Russians. It's the Russians and the Iranians. And listen, I'm no friend of Iran. However, the area's got to be kept stable because, Iran is no... And thanks to Obama, Iran is getting richer by the day and getting more nuclear capabilities by the day. And just so you know, it has been reported, they have not stopped their nuclear activity or the above. Congress returns. Our government can be shut down this week. I'm going to give you my opinion. I believe let the government shut down and fund the wall. I hope Trump doesn't back down on this one because... I would say screw them. Shut the government down. It's not like the government's operating properly. It's not. People don't understand. Everybody thinks the government shuts down and then everything stops, like our military stops. Everything. That's not the case. They want to make it seem like that to you guys, but that's not what happens when the government shuts down. Just so you know, that's not what happens. And we know about the U.S. Senate going to the White House for North Korea briefing. That's how it was reported on Reuters. And if it is Wednesday, well, Kim's set to do, if Kim's going to do something, it's going to be 25th. So tomorrow will be the day, tomorrow evening, whatever. Here it is right here. Excuse me. Top U.S. general in Afghanistan sees Russia sending weapons to Taliban. Here we go. Need more troops. The head of the U.S. and international force in Afghanistan said on Monday he was not refuting reports that Russia was providing support, including weapons. So now Russia is supporting and allegedly supporting the Taliban in Afghanistan. Don't buy it. Nope. That is just a public cry to send in more troops to Afghanistan. And there's Mattis right behind him. Now we have our joke of a DNC chair, Perez. He's swearing out there. If this is the Democratic Party today, we're in this country's in the Democrats are in serious trouble here. My man, look at this dude. This guy looks like he belongs on a pedophile Cheerio box. This guy is out there. I'm sorry, not judging, just saying this guy is not playing with a full deck. This one, okay, and the second in command of the DNC, all tied with Muslim Brotherhood. This is where the Democratic Party's going. Yikes! Run as fast as you can. Whew. He's not afraid to swear in his speeches, a decision that's raising eyebrows and earning criticism. Like, look at this guy. No disrespect. He looks like he smoked way too much crack, and I'm just saying. Whew. They're just desperate. Desperate. Is that like the Heil, I don't even like to use the words Hitler. Is that Heil Hitler right there? Sheesh. Nikki Haley today.
in the UN is really bring reform in the way we spend, reform in the peacekeeping operations, but also reform in the resolutions that are passed, that what we pass actually means something, and that there's accountability in what we pass. And so I think they heard that loud and clear today from the President. I think that they are thrilled with the engagement that they had, and I think it shows that the President's very engaged on foreign policy, and they see that. The idea that he would sit down and want to talk to them about each of their countries and the Security Council collectively is massive for a President to be able to do this, and it was certainly helpful for the United States. Now they are in briefings with General McMaster,
dangerous,
focusing on North Korea, also focusing on ISIS, and engaging on that front, and we'll continue to have other conversations as well. But as far as we go, great day for the Security Council, great day with the President, and certainly more good to come out of this meeting. So thank you very much. I've got some ambassadors waiting, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. So without further ado, Secretary of the Treasury, Stephen Mnuchin.
He was at dinner the other night, just so you all know, at Trump International, D.C.
Earlier today, the United States Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Asset Control imposed sanctions in response to the April 4th, 2017 sarin attack on innocent civilians by the regime of Syrian dictator Assad. OFAC is sanctioning 271 employees of Syria's Scientific Studies and Research Center, the Syrian government agency responsible for developing and producing non-conventional weapons and means to deliver them. OFAC has targeted these 271 employees because they have expertise in chemistry and related fields or have worked in support of chemical weapons programs since at least...
I'm going to stop this guy right here. I'm going to say this right now. And I'm telling you now, Trump White House or not, this is straight out lies. This is bullshit. They are doing this to go after Syria, okay, for a reason alleged that they have chemical weapons. That attack is clearly, and anyone with any common freaking sense, even 15 years old, can look at the videos, look at the evidence, look at the common sense of it, that Assad is a bad guy, but he did not chemical attack these kids in that area. There's not even any children in that area, just so anybody knows. It's not a village. Idlib is a freaking mountainous terrain area that is full of bunkers and munition dumps and well-known jihadist, hangout. This is not where there's children playing outside and there's no homes right there, nothing. You can look at even satellite online satellite images of Idlib. This was not done by Assad. And now I want to bring up a key point, because I do have a fourth show that I'm going to be bringing you to all specifically on the chemical attacks of Syria. And it is shocking. And I can't wait to do it, because I've done a good job putting this all together and the people involved in it. I'm going to say this. They then came out just the other day and said that Assad definitely still has more chemical weapons. Here's the key red flag that comes up. Now Assad allegedly has more chemical weapons, and he never gave them up with Russia. This has got Putin furious, because UN inspectors were there, they complied, they did everything, they followed through, blah, blah, blah. They're doing this to set the jump off. And I'm telling you now, you expect to see another false, most likely, I'll say 75 to 80%, you will see another false flag chemical attack in Syria blamed on Assad. If that happens, they have to have rocks in their head, because I fully believe most people, on average, would not believe that Assad would be that stupid to go again and use chemicals on people, knowing that he'd get a missile directed directly up his ass and into a full-blown war with Russia. So let's, common sense here. Now they're using sanctions against Syria to push Assad out. Assad is with Russia. Russia's got sanctions all over it. Russia basically maintains a small part, but a decent-sized part of Syria with its bases. Assad is now, his airplanes, his whole Air Force is stationed on Russian bases. So if we attack Assad, we're attacking Russia now literally. Not in a proxy, but literally, and we would be in war with Russia. I do not foresee the United States doing that. If they did that, then that's just, madness.
2012. Today's action less than 3 weeks after the attack on Khan Sheikhoun, is one of the largest ever executed by OFAC. In a single action, we are more than doubling the number of individuals and entities sanctioned since the start of the Syrian conflict pursuant to Syria-related executive orders. These sweeping sanctions are intended to hold the Assad regime and those who support it, directly or indirectly, accountable for their blatant violations of the Chemical Weapons Convention in UN Security Council Resolution 21-118. The United States is sending a strong message with this action that we will not tolerate the use of chemical weapons by any actor, and we intend to hold the Assad regime accountable for its unacceptable behavior. The Treasury Department, together with the Department of State and our international partners, will continue to relentlessly pursue and shut down the financial networks of any individuals involved with serious production or use of chemical weapons. I'd also comment that recently we had sanctions on North Korea and Iran, and will also continue to add to and monitor those as appropriate.
Okay. I do not foresee Syria coming to a peaceful end anytime soon. We're going to be in this for a little bit. No, he doesn't even believe what he's reading. And I can assure you, this is really... Let's go on about what happened at dinner the other night. Everybody was talking about that it would be for tax relief and all this other good stuff, where Trump brought everybody to the table at all. It was really about sanctions and what was going on with Syria and what they're going to do, as well as the discussion of additional sanctions with Iran at all. So, Bill O'Reilly coming back. He's going to have his own podcast, which I know for a fact is going to turn to his own new TV show. It will be on. So, you will be seeing Bill O'Reilly again. And he starts on his new podcast. You can sign up for it. It's not expensive. Bill, I believe he's going to come out swinging. And if you see him just going after Sean Hannity as well. This is a great show that I put up here. It's very accurate, and this has to do with some even gentlemen that I know from back in the day. This is Deep State Inside the Mafia from MFA. This is Coast to Coast Radio, if you've ever listened to them. But with George Norrie, George Norrie. And this is a great radio show. It's very informative. So if you get a chance, listen to this. You'll find it very interesting. And it's sort of the same type of show that I have planned and I have been discussing. There's several active plots to kill JFK, even before Dallas. And this is the real, true mafia guys coming out and exposing the truth. Ralph Natali is a well-known, he's the last Don of Philadelphia. He was also the first, he's a rat, so in our world it's not good. First ever mob boss to turn state's evidence, provided an insider. He provides a perspective on the mafia. What he does say in here is true. The guy's a straight rat. He'll tell you whatever it is, but it is true what he's saying. And this is very, very good, and it has to do with the CIA. And it's very, very, very good in the deep state. And how he's concluded that the cabal with the government is the true controller of what happens. That's what I've been trying to say. Everybody keeps arguing these points of why isn't this person getting indicted? Why isn't that person getting indicted? Why isn't this person getting indicted? And some of these other shows I'm going to go in. I want to get into this EMP situation. Hang on. Give me a second, and then I will get you that information. Now, first, I want to bring to you, before we go into Operation Gotham Shield, that I had reported the other day, having to do with, and it's been ongoing, but it's supposed to be starting today, tomorrow, all the way to the 27th, over New York, New Jersey, Lincoln Tunnel, and on the border of Canada and the United States. But I want to show you something. Anytime we've had any of these type of drills, and we had a drill before this with 9/11, okay? Yes, Wednesday is the day. As I keep telling you, everything is the 26th. I think this is much more going to happen on the 26th. I'm letting you know, more so than just this. But I want to bring your attention to this article. And it's important because there's no coincidences here. Give me 1 second. I want to bring you to this article, and this article is, I believe it's from February. From the Washington Examiner. Now, I want you to put two and two together. None of this EMP stuff had come forward or any of the above until just recently, till this document surfaced. This document from FEMA just surfaced, and it popped up on the internet from one source, and now look at this article. This is from February 14th. Okay? This is before any of this EMP stuff popped out, that we were going to have EMP drills and that the federal government is supposed to detonate a test of an EMP. This is February 14th. North Korea threatens EMP nuke attack on U.S. I can assure you, North Korea cannot get an EMP it's over the United States. But the reason why I'm pointing this out to you is put two and two together here. A former NASA mission controller and space expert is raising new concern. Now, this is one of our own people, NASA, that North Korea's missile program is aimed at launching a nuclear-armed satellite at the U.S., where high sky explosion would fry Washington and melt the mid-Atlantic electric grid, resulting in chaos and death. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Describing North Korea's missile program, Jim Oberg said that it appears the goal is to launch weaponized satellites, a fear the Pentagon has already started to prepare for. Right here. And this is in February. In February. Now all of a sudden we have this EMP that popped up about a week ago. Just hit the new internet. Nothing before that. No FEMA docs. I'm going to tell you what. Excuse me. North Korea does not have satellites that can launch anything on the United States, especially an EMP attack. I'm telling you this right now. But pay attention to this propaganda that's coming out here. This is from a NASA mission controller, and he's a space expert, now claiming that North Korea has the possibility to use satellites to carry a small nuclear warhead into orbit and then detonate it over the United States. Is this like Goldfinger shit here or what? Dun, 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 like James Bond shit. Okay? North Korea does not have the capability to carry a small nuclear warhead around orbit and then detonate it over the United States as an EMP strike. But they want you to believe this, and they already started to plant the seed with this story, which then got shared to many other places. This story, and other people, used it. And wait, it gets better. Wait, I want to pay attention. And what did we just have? We had these electric grids out, as I tried to tell everybody, which some are saying, I'm saying it was a hack. Some are saying it had to do with the sun and the magnetic field of the earth. However, I want you to, this article's key to all this, so pay attention. First, there have been fears expressed that North Korea might use a satellite to carry a small nuclear warhead into orbit and detonate it over the United States. These concerns seem extreme and require astronomical scale of irrationality on the part of the regime, he wrote in Space Review. Then, after describing a bizarre trip he took, allegedly, listen, here's the best. Describing a bizarre trip he took to North Korea to witness the program, he concluded the most frightening aspect I've come to realize is that exactly such a scale of insanity now evident in the rest of their space program. Okay, now, better, come right here. Similar concerns of an attack of the what? Electric grid with an electromagnetic pulse or EMP weapon have been raised the last few years. Guess by who? Notably, Peter Pry and former CIA Director who? Woolsey. Here we go. And this was just in February, March. Now we're 2 months later. We're having this Operation Gotham Shield. And I have to say, even though this has been confirmed by several places, it still does. Nobody seems to know if it's really they're going to detonate. I don't believe they're going to detonate anything. I believe this is a complete and utter propaganda situation for something that's really going to happen, and we'll see. They're not going to announce that FEMA is going to detonate, and they're saying it's a safe nuclear device over the Lincoln Tunnel or in the Lincoln Tunnel. It's not happening. Now, would they run a test, like if, God forbid, something did happen like that? But again, here, and this is just in February before all this North Korea rhetoric started, and now we have the timing. How coincident is the timing of this alleged EMP attack? This article 2 months before saying that North Korea could possess and do an EMP, and us on the brink of war with North Korea and sending in a carrier and a nuclear submarine into North Korea at the same time, at the same days that there's allegedly supposed to be this training exercise of this EMP attack under Operation Gotham Shield. I mean, put the pieces together here. It's impossible. And here he goes. And I love this, that it's this guy, after describing a bizarre trip he took to North Korea to witness the program. North Korea doesn't let anybody witness shit. It's nothing. They don't allow anybody to see anything, do anything, and if anything is seen, as just even recently reported by journalists that were just there, they stage everything. They put them into a hospital. They had people looking into microscopes. They don't even have computers plugged in. That's how primitive they are. They don't even have EKGs in North Korea in their hospitals. So this guy allegedly took a trip to North Korea, never was brought up in the news before. We checked it, and the endorsement of Oberg, a former NSA and USA command official, adds a new and important voice and could spark a new push for anti-satellite defense. Yeah, okay. It comes as North Korea is increasing their program and threats against South Korea, Japan, and the U.S. as they did in the weekend missile launch condemned by Japan and the U.S. The threat is real, say experts. What's more is it would be hard to prevent. Oberg said that recent changes to Kim's missile launch pad and efforts to conceal its program suggest action soon. So now what they're saying is, this is great. North Korea can't even get a missile off the ground that goes, I mean, roughly X amount of feet. But based on his years in NASA mission control, he said the projected orbit could put the satellite on top of Washington. It's on the very first pass around the Earth after crossing near Antarctica. The satellite tracks northwards off the west coast of South America over the Caribbean, right up the east coast 65 minutes after launch. It's passing a few hundred miles west of Washington, D.C., and with a minor steering adjustment during launch, it could pass right overhead. So, if there's going to be a false flag, they're going to say that North Korea, previously, because they did launch a missile to test in space, and they are claiming, or Kim gets off a missile that heads into space, and then allegedly, has this satellite that will travel all the way around up the East Coast, land right over Washington, and set off an EMP. Not. I mean, just for them to even write this stuff is such propaganda and bullshit. But people reading this will buy this. Unbelievable. Here, in my view, the U.S. needs to consider whether we can even risk letting an absolutely unknown payload from North Korea even fly across the United States again, and how we can be confident that the next satellite launch is carrying a non-hazardous cargo. Because North Korea did allege that they sent up a missile, and they did get it up, and that they launched a satellite. Point being, so now let's go to Gotham Shield. Daily Mail. Operation Gotham Shield. Dun dun. Batman. Gotham. Commissioner Gordon, where are you? Bat signals up. I saw some guys, preppers on YouTube with this pushing this all up. I'm going to give you my honest, and from what I understand, this is not.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is ODD. Today is Wednesday, April 19th, 2017. Shout out to Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Just got some info that I thought was worthy of sharing. Let's just check out this headline real quick. Feds to conduct Operation Gotham Shield, simulating 10-kiloton nuke detonation over New York City, New Jersey, next Monday and Tuesday. Okay? I thought it was interesting. I thought this might have more publicity. I went to go look for it, and there's not much about this on the internet at all.
It's Monday.
Surprisingly. So we might be onto something here. And what I'm thinking is that they might take this simulation and pass it off as real, like they've done so many other times, like they pretty much do nonstop with all of their exercises and drills. We may see something like a Boston bombing, Sandy Hook style, even Melbourne or Stockholm, all these truck attacks and all these fake news events that are scripted and made 100% for the news. They're going to have their crisis actors. They're going to pass them off like they're really injured, they really got hurt, stuff like that. I don't want to see that happen. So what we got here is we got the heads up on a drill being ran in New York City and New Jersey next week, April 24th and 25th. And the premise of this simulated crisis will be the detonation of a 10,000-ton nuclear device in the air over New Jersey. I'll leave this linked in the description. There's lots more stuff to go over here. There's a Facebook page called Healthcare Association of New Jersey. I'll link this in the description as well. But they, on April 6th, they posted exercise, Operation Gotham Shield, improvised nuclear detonation incident, April 26th, 2017. This is a reminder that on April 26th, 2017, Lange will be participating in Operation Gotham Shield. Blah, 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 lots to read here. I just want to get this out there and have other people look at it and see what you can dig up, see what you can find, and most of all, be aware that this is taking place. It looks like they're coming out and saying, this is going to be simulated and all that, but regardless, they've done this thing. They were running drills the same day, September 11th, 2001, when planes were supposedly hitting the buildings. They were running drills at the same time in the same area. It's just, this is what they do. So they could very well run this drill while they also put on another show down the street that they try to pass off as real. I just want you guys to know, man, get into this, look at this. Richie from Boston, get in there, man. Check this stuff out. You live right over there, man. We need to make people aware of this. Make sure people know what's going on, regardless if it actually maintains as a drill or not.
Yikes. On TV. Anyway, he's very accurate on what he's saying about what has been presented of this. I'm going to show you the whole document now. Give me a second. 7 hours ago, the Gothamist. Operation Gotham Shield will test nuclear preparedness this week. Pow. There we go. A host of federal and local agencies began conducting. Supposedly this is happening already, and I have received information that in fact it has started. So a host of federal and local agencies began today at JFK. There was even training from, and they used simulated smoke, bodies, and all kinds of stuff that went on. I believe it was from 10:30 this morning till 1:30 this afternoon on part of the JFK airport. It did not hold up any flights, but it did get conducted today. A host of federal and local agencies began conducting nuclear response drills in the New York and New Jersey area on Monday as part of a 4-day-long FEMA-led exercise known as Gotham Shield. The drills, which are theoretical and do not involve actual volunteers posing as victims, will simulate a scenario in which a 10,000-ton improvised nuclear device goes off on the New Jersey side of the Lincoln Tunnel. FEMA spokeswoman Lauren Lev-Abrive told Gothamist, MetLife Stadium will serve as the primary response center. We have confirmed MetLife Stadium is empty for this event. And the event will be focused on interagency and multi-state coordination during a nuclear incident. So now, here we are training for a nuclear incident. I showed you the article from February that North Korea allegedly is going to detonate an EMP across in our atmosphere. And now we have these drills going on, and now, all this is not, it's not a coincidence. Okay, but if you're going to blame North Korea for an EMP, they better, North Korea does not have that, I'm telling you now, they do not have that ability. Kim cannot even shoot the missiles from his sandbox, so let alone. Anyway, the various drills will bring federal agencies such as the Department of Defense, FBI, and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers together with state and local entities like the Greater New York Hospital Association and ambulance response teams from across New Jersey. For them to be training for an EMP, we just recently had areas blackouts in San Francisco, LA, parts of New York in the subway system, and several other states, which I showed you. There's a location map we have that I had put up on that day. There's something big coming, and this is just what we do, and we let people know, and nobody pays attention to it, and then it happens. McCabe Ambulance, one of those response teams, will set up at MetLife, where some 1,000 imaginary victims. So this is what I wanted to explain to everybody. They're saying that they're going to use some 1,000 imaginary victims of a nuclear incident will be triaged, decontaminated, treated for injuries, including burns, and transported. Mickey McCabe told NewJersey.com on Sunday. Those drills do not involve actual equipment, though virtual decontamination tents will be set up for firefighters, according to North Hudson Fire Department Chief Frank Montagon. So, there will be no nuclear explosion over New York and New Jersey. If that does happen, it is definitely a false flag and has nothing to do with this. They're not going to detonate. They're not even using real equipment, per them. The preparedness exercises are not Lefebvre stressed related to recent concerns about nuclear missile tests. See, They even picked up, and I didn't even know, they even picked up in this article, he stressed related to recent concerns about nuclear missile tests in North Korea. It's not related to nuclear missile tests in North Korea. But yet the other article claims that Kim can detonate an EMP over the United States. Yeah, okay. This is something that's been planned well in advance of anything going on in the current climate. He stated, it's just a test of our ability to communicate across federal, state, and local levels. When state and federal officials get together like this, the last time they did this, we ended up with 9/11. Just understand this. There was drills going on the day of 9/11. Our good old boy George Bush behind all of that, with several others. Still, the preparedness drills have some patriotic, paranoid Americans alarmed, with Infowars.com publishing an article declaring that a false flag watch is now active. I agree with Alex on this. Okay? The last time that we did something like this, we had 9/11, which was a false flag, and it was huge, and thousands of innocent people got killed. So, a general alert is out for something major in the near or immediate future. Hopefully it's just another false alarm instead of another false flag. Either way, and danger is at hand. The theory, which has spread to corners of the conservative and end times blogospheres, speculates that the government could plan on hijacking and converting the simulated actions in a manner similar to what many researchers believe was at work on the day of 9/11. There's also video making the rounds on Reddit, causing some commentators to worry that the government could make a fake nuclear blast seem real, perhaps as some sort of false flag event. In any event, the Redditors have encouraged each other to exercise caution and maybe consider leaving town. So we'll see. We'll know by tomorrow and the next day. I'm going to give you my honest opinion and from the information I've received on this. And this is just even from New Jersey officials here. They're going through, and I'm going to try tomorrow. It's not far from where I am. I would like to go to MetLife and see what's going on there and shoot some video from there. I think it would be interesting. But, as I stated before, I don't think that this is a distraction. However, like I said, there's something big coming, and I'm not putting that out there to be an ass. I'm telling you, there's something big, whether it be war with North Korea, striking Syria, or a false flag on our own soil, something big, or a combination thereof. But I can assure you, I fully believe that, and from my source, we're going to be at war with North Korea very quickly here. If Kim does not step down, meaning China does not put the pressure on him to stop with what he's preparing to do with the nuclear. So far, everybody, don't worry. Supposedly they're not using an actual nuclear device. So we'll see. But that's Operation Gotham Shield in a nutshell. So, I want to see if, give me 1 second. Now, as you all know, I did a video last week when we discussed about Kim being able to take hostages, and I raised that Kim could take hostages, having to do with journalists. The journalists got out, but now Kim has grabbed 3 different people to use as human shields. This is the kind of coward that he is. So, I agree. China should take North Korea out. Will they do that? That's a matter of... I don't think so. That's why I played the North Korea video. Sorry, guys. That was a commercial.
He was just steps away from boarding a flight out of North Korea, but something happened at the Pyongyang airport, and now an American citizen is in custody. This airport is one of the only ways in and out of North Korea. Just a handful of flights pass through on any given week. And it was here that North Korean authorities detained a man over the weekend as he was trying to board a flight out of the country. Kim Song-duk, who goes by Tony Kim, had just finished several weeks of teaching at the Pyongyang University of Science and Technology, a private institution where foreign professors, including Americans, teach North Korean students. In a statement to CNN, the university says, "We understand this detention is related to an investigation into matters not connected in any way with the work of the university. Details of that investigation or any charges against Kim remain a mystery." So far, North Korea has stayed silent. Complicating matters, Washington does not have diplomatic relations with Pyongyang. All communications go through the Swedish embassy, which confirmed to CNN Kim's detention but refused further comment. The U.S. State Department also says it's working on the case.
Please, admit the worst mistake of my life.
Kim joins at least 2 other U.S. citizens also in North Korean custody. University of Virginia student Otto Warmbier was on a sightseeing tour last year when he was accused of removing a political sign from a hotel wall. His sentence, 15 years hard labor.
Jesus.
Kim Dong-chol is a naturalized U.S. citizen serving 10 years hard labor on spying charges. The status of both men, unknown. This apparent third detention of an American citizen comes on the heels of a new warning from the Pentagon after North Korea threatened to take out a U.S. aircraft carrier. North Korea's Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un unveiled never-before-seen missiles at the Day of the Sun military parade, including 2 new ICBMs that could someday be capable of carrying a nuclear warhead to the mainland U.S. Despite rising tensions, travel to North Korea continues as normal. More than 100 people boarded Monday's only flight from Beijing to Pyongyang, including dozens of tourists. Tour companies organizing these trips say everyone will leave safely as long as they follow North Korean law. The detainment of yet another American, a sobering reminder.
You got to have rocks in your head.
Not always guaranteed.
Let's go to Korea as a tourist right when we're ready to go. All right, you got to shut up, Mr. Hefty. Let's go to Korea as soon as we're about to go to war. Let's go to North Korea on a trip. For real? I'm telling you, the world is just... I don't know. U.S. tells North Korea to cease destabilizing actions and rhetoric. This is the latest thing from us. Video. And the only reason why I'm playing CNN is because they can't screw this story up.
Meet the new guy. He really knows his wine.
This is the new guy? Hello. You know wine, huh? My analysis of satellite imagery shows Block 12 would benefit from decreased irrigation. I was wondering about that. Nice doggy.
Do you feel that the homeland is safe from a North Korean missile or, you know, any other coming towards the continental U.S.?
Well, it depends on who. Clearly there are countries on the planet that have a lot of nuclear weapons that would overwhelm any defense that we would deploy. Russia, as an example. Mm-hmm. But the minute, I would tell you, Dana, the minute North Korea gets a missile that could reach the United States and put a weapon on that missile, a nuclear weapon, the instant that happens, this country is at grave risk.
How far away do you think that is?
I think Mr. Trump will be dealing with this in
ding, ding,
real
ding, ding,
terms
ding, ding, ding,
before
ding, ding.
he starts his second term.
I think Mr. Trump will be dealing with... Oops. I think Mr. Trump will be dealing with this before his second term. This is what he says. Okay? Well, point being, Donald Trump has pledged to rein in the menace of North Korea's nuclear program and has spoken to Chinese President Xi Jinping, aka Ping Pong, about getting China as one of North Korea's only allies to put pressure on its neighbor to change course. If you remember the video I just showed you in the beginning of my show, the reason why I showed you this quick 5-minute history of North Korea and the war with South Korea is that China did the same thing then, amassed on North Korea's border while the U.S. and South Korea, while the U.S. and South Korea were fighting North Korea. And then as soon as North Korea started to lose the war, China came flying right over the border and fought for its ally, its neighbor, North Korea. I'm going to give you my take on this. How about we give North Korea to China? How's that? Here, China, take this asshole. Take him out. You can have North Korea. Let us have South Korea. You agree not to do anything. We have peaceful borders. Here you go. Open up North Korea. There you go. Give North Korea to China. Solves problem. Here, take him out. We'll give you North Korea. Take him out. You can have that land. Have a nice day. It originally goes back to Japan, North Korea, but who cares? Give it to China. Here, take it. Have a nice day. Keep him. Take him out, and you keep China. You keep North Korea. We stabilize the border with South Korea. South Korea gets its missile defense system. There's nothing. China would be our only enemy in the area. Yippee-doo. At least they're peaceful at the moment. Let them have North Korea. End of story. So what? They're already right across the way. What's the difference? What is the difference? There is none. The United States should not get itself involved in a war in North Korea. It's going to be bloody, nasty, and regardless, Kim is going to send off. There'll at least 50 to 100,000 people probably dead if they don't take him out like right away, instantly, without him knowing it. Boop, 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 done. And many people in North Korea, innocent people who are basically slaves, basically prisoners to Kim Jong-un himself, are going to die. Give it to China. Take him out. Let China take over the country. End of story. I'm telling you, it would work. Just take out Kim. Give China North Korea. Who gives a shit? Here, the land is so small it doesn't even here. Take it. Compared to China in the area, so what? Let China have North Korea. Here, we'll make you a deal. You stop manipulating your currency. You stop doing all this. We'll give you North Korea. Take it out. Have a nice day. We'll put the border up. We'll throw some flower pots on there, some plants, some trees. Open it with a nice fancy gate. Everybody can go from both sides. Kim's gone. Let them take out Kim and his military. As soon as Kim falls, all the military, his whole military's done. All these generals, this, that, they're all finished. They're not going to follow along. Here, have North Korea. Nice. Talk to Russia. Listen, China's right there anyway. This little piece of land, we get rid of the asshole. Everybody's happy. Boom. Chinese are in there. They would feel more. North Koreans will feel more. And then you slowly open up North Korea to South Korea. Here you go. Everybody's happy. Like I said, slap some flower pots. Maybe throw a Disneyland Northeast down there. Boop, 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 boop. Everybody's happy. Done. Problem solved. Instead of turning it into this nightmare. It's like the wall. Build a fucking wall. All you need to do is to use government bonds and private infrastructure bonds to build this wall and toll the entrance to Mexico. Can we see? This is not rocket science. Instead, we got to go into Congress. The budget is not going to pass. The government's going to shut down because Trump wants this wall. Really? I'm telling you, infrastructure, simple infrastructure bonds. I'll prove it to you actually in a minute. No, this has got to go. This stupid commercials. Freaks, party hefty. Nobody's buying your plastic cups because you're dancing around the fucking room.
we are sending an armada, very powerful.
Look at how small North Korea is in this video. Just let China have it. Here, take him over. Dun-dun-dun.
More pillows?
Yes, because we have...
Claim free rewards from...
Shut up. Now, this video is interesting. This video is very interesting. This one right here. North Korea performance shows U.S. in flames. Oh, there it is. Yikes. Hefty. Party not. Madness. Complete madness. The whole country's military. Complete madness. This is what they're feeding them.
Superior drivers.
Yeah. North Korea is not striking the United States, so everybody needs to put that out of their brains. Because if they say that they are, they're full of shit. It's a false flag. I'm telling you. They don't even have the technology. You know, they can't do it. Christ, they can't even get a one missile off the... It's just... Ugh. Please. All propaganda. Remember Saddam Hussein? Oh, weapons of mass destruction. Saddam is this horrible guy. We were done with Saddam, washed up, he's finished. Have a nice day. CIA's finished. CIA's done with you. Have a great day. Yeah. So. It's just complete garbage. Here we go. Breaking news. White House considers art of compromise to avoid shutdown. Here it is.
When it comes to buying a house,
this is a different commercial.
Only half of it. And with 34 map overlays like demographics, schools, and more, you can find the right house and the right neighborhood for you. Trulia, the house is only half of it.
As President Trump closes in on 100 days in office, his administration is setting up a showdown over funding for a border wall.
The president's priorities have been very clear from the beginning.
Congress has until Friday to approve a spending bill and avoid a government shutdown. The administration is pushing to include $1.4 billion for the wall as part of that measure.
It will be up to Congress to pass it. And if the Democrats filibuster that and block it, they're the ones shutting the whole government down just to keep the wall from being built.
The president tweeting today, the wall is a very important tool in stopping drugs from pouring into our country and poisoning our youth and many others. But the administration appears to be sending mixed signals on how hard a line the president is willing to draw.
Rents Previs, you piece of shit.
Secretary of Homeland Security John Kelly telling CNN the president would insist on it.
The president has been pretty straightforward about his desire and the need for a border wall. So I would suspect he'll do the right thing for sure, but I will suspect he will be insistent on the funding.
But Chief of Staff Reince Priebus refused to say whether the president would veto a bill that did not include wall funds.
I think that as long as the president's priorities are adequately reflected in the CR, I think we'll be okay with that.
Democrats say funding for the wall is a non-starter.
To think that he would consider shutting down the government of the United States of America over this outlandish proposal of a border wall, which we can't even pay for at this point, and is opposed by Democrats and Republicans all
we could pay to rebuild,
that would be the height of irresponsibility.
Iraq and Syria and Libya and everywhere else, but we can't pay to put a wall up, right?
Over the wall.
The last thing we can afford is to send a message to the world.
Shut up.
The United States government, by the way, is only partially functioning.
On day 95 of his presidency, the president finds himself with the lowest approval ratings at this stage for any president since 1945. Yet a Washington Post ABC News poll finds that 96% of Trump supporters stand by their vote.
We'll see what happens, but healthcare is coming along well.
A reason the administration is hoping to make progress on repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act, another key campaign promise, although it seems a vote ahead of the 100-day mark later this week is unlikely.
In the grand scheme of things, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we're hopeful for this week, but again, it's not something that has to happen in order to define our success.
So, shush up. I will say this. I'm praying that Donald Trump does not back out on this wall deal with Congress. Who cares about the government shutdown? The whole thing. That's a whole bunch of bullshit as it is. Okay, they'll throw that out there. They'll throw that out there to turn around and say Trump's got to bluff on this one. He's got to stay, meaning not just bluff, but stay strong and say, listen, nothing goes in. Forget the government. The wall goes in. For us to build $1.some-odd billion, so what? We spend that on rebuilding other countries and other people's infrastructures. It's about time we spend money on the United States. We need money spent on our infrastructure. This wall, our roads, our highways, and even this wall doesn't even have to be spent by taxpayers. It can be done, and I'm still shocked as to why they don't do it. Using government bonds and private bonds to build and fund this wall and tax the border. Like Canada has a tax at certain entrances going into Canada. This is not rocket science. So I don't know, either these people are totally stone cold stupid, or it makes no sense to me. Or they like to battle over bullshit, which they love drama in the swamp, but it makes no sense. The wall is not, and I can prove it to you here. I'll even prove it to you. Give me a second. Funding U.S. infrastructure projects using bonds. Number one innovation in U.S. infrastructure financing. Private investors have cash. U.S. infrastructure. Expanding our infrastructure using... Sorry, I'm on a screen. I'm looking to the left. I'll pull it up in 1 second. August 3rd, 2016. Trump, even himself. Here's an interesting article. Let me show you this. And this is why I'm confused, because if we go to the wall, it makes no sense. Give me a sec. There we go. Trump proposes selling infrastructure bonds. August 3rd, 2016 by Dave Johnson. Today's Post, a look at Clinton and Trump's promises to spend to boost the economy, said Trump's infrastructure plan was nothing more than a promise with no details. We will build the roads, highway, bridges, tunnels, airports, and roads of tomorrow. This in turn will create millions more jobs, Trump said. Trump has since added a detail to his plan, saying he will at least double what Clinton's plan spends. Bloomberg has the story. Trump says he'll spend more than $500 billion on infrastructure. Donald Trump on Tuesday proposed a plan to rebuild infrastructure that costs at least double the amount that Hillary Clinton has floated. Asked on Fox Business Network how much he'd spend, the Republican presidential nominee said, well, I will say at least double her numbers if you're going to need more than that. He'll spend double what she said. How Trump pays for infrastructure spending. Here's the fun part. Trump then describes how he'll pay for this from Bloomberg Report. We'll get a fund. We'll make a phenomenal deal with low interest rates, he said, who will provide the money. Here's the key. As I've been investors, people who put money into the fund, the citizens who put money into the fund, he said, adding that they'd used infrastructure bonds from the country, from the United States. Trump says this himself before he's elected, and he's correct. You can use, and I'm going to Google infrastructure bonds for you, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Trump is saying he would borrow the money for his infrastructure plan by selling U.S. Treasury bonds, which is exactly what the U.S. government and every other government does and has done to fund infrastructure maintenance and modernization. He just used different words to describe it. But here's the thing. This might be standard practice and the standard way governments fund infrastructure projects, except for the last several years. The Republican Party has objected to selling. It's the Republican Party. It's the Congress, etc. At all. The Republican Party has objected to selling bonds to pay for infrastructure. They call it government spending. They object to borrowing in debt. It's not government spending. So Trump's words it differently, and this is important to get. He says investors will buy infrastructure bonds and that citizens will pay into the fund, a.k.a. borrow money and use taxes to cover interest payment. Trump sells the idea. On top of that, right now the government makes a profit off of borrowing. The interest rate on U.S. borrowing is low, blah, 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 blah. This is simple. And Trump even said it himself, but yet it's not happening. Now I'm going to show you what it is. All right, here. Bonds are the way to fix this, and it's not hard, and people will invest in this. They even have international investors that can invest in this, and the funds don't come from anybody in the government. America's infrastructure challenges are increasingly front-page news, but practical solutions to pay for bridges, roads, airports, schools, water, and other assets are buried on page B7. This brief discusses three new pragmatic proposals to address America's infrastructure needs: qualified public infrastructure bonds, QPIBs, and two different versions of American Fast Forward AFF bonds. While the specific program structures and political prospects vary significantly, the need for new bonding tools is straightforward. QPIBs are designed to let the private sector take more active role in designing, building, financing, operating, maintaining public infrastructure assets. I.e., this wall is one of those infrastructure assets. I'm telling you. AFF bonds are aimed at attracting new types of investors into the infrastructure market, particularly public pension funds, corporate pensions, sovereign wealth funds, insurance companies, and taxpayers, lower income brackets. If you want to read, this is a good read. Qualified public infrastructure bonds, QBIBs, and two different American Fast Forward bonds. While the specific details and likelihood of passage of these programs remain in flux, the proposal represents a growing push to make infrastructure debt more accessible to a wider range of institutions, individuals, and it's very simple. This is not rocket science. The following is a description of the major, and you can go into here exactly what it does. Existing finance options for public infrastructure. United States finances infrastructure debt in a unique way. While most countries use their central banks, private banks, and multilateral banks, like the International Monetary Fund, which, just so you know, the IMF is globalist, all tied to Rothschild, Rockefeller, et al. As lenders for big projects, the majority of states and cities across America go directly. Here, fact, as I'm trying to tell you. The majority of states and cities across America go directly to citizens for borrowing needs. Bonds. It's all done through bonds. State and localities originate either taxable. You get wall bonds. You sell wall bonds. The government sells wall bonds. People would invest, and all of us, I'm sure, would invest in a wall bond or several of them. This is what we did during the war. This is how we did our first railroad in this country when the private company ran out of money. That's how government bonds came into play. For infrastructure, this is not difficult. I've been saying this for months, and I don't know why they keep dragging this out into something else when we could have this effing wall up, started, meaning get going and done, and then you just tax the entrance. And guess who pays the tax? The Mexicans coming across the border, and anybody coming from across the border into the United States is paying. So then in the end, he fulfills his promise that Mexico pays for the wall. Boom, done. Simple. Finished. The largest, oldest, and most frequently used bonding program the federal government offers to states, localities, and agencies like departments of transportation and school districts comes in the form of a tax-exempt government bond. You could create a special bond for the wall. You open it up to private sector everywhere, international, national, the United States, doesn't matter. Investors pay for the wall, not the U.S. citizens. Then it's not in the budget. Then you don't have to worry about the fucking government closing down. Then you don't have to do all this hype and everybody picking on the wall. Screw the Democrats. Pack your shit. We're building the wall. We don't need your approval. We're doing it with bonds. They set up the fund. This is how you do it. You'd have the money in no time. Simple. This flexible bond is used to finance everything from public building and bridges to highways and airports. There is no federal key. There is no federal cap on the amount of tax-exempt municipal debt governments can issue. But in 2014, an estimated $350 billion of bonds were put on the market. State, localities, and agencies have broad discretion to issue these bonds and sell them to individuals and institutions, even like banks. The federal government allows bondholders to deduct the interest. They're even interest deductible, these bonds. Earned and perked that frees the issuing government to pay a lower premium, still competitive. Each year, the federal government forgoes approximately $30 billion in revenue through this subsidy. This tax exemption appeals to a range of individuals and institutional investors. Tax-exempt organizations like public pension funds, international investors who do not pay federal tax, and individuals who already have low margin taxes tend to avoid municipal bonds because they generally do not receive. That's for people in certain brackets. Regardless, this is the home run. And it fits the bill because tax-exempt munis cannot be used for variety purposes. They cannot be used for projects directly benefiting the private sector or for partnerships. This would not be benefiting any private sector. It benefits the government. That way you have no problem. And the states there with the walls. Additionally, any number of questions remain. So, there's also the PABs. This wall thing, Build America bonds, create during the financial crisis stimulus. BABs function much like traditional municipal bonds, except that BABs were taxable bonds that gave either 35% direct or federal subsidy to borrow. Direct payment. This is the future of, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to tell this to everybody. Most third world countries cannot afford infrastructure, bridges, tunnels, walls, roads, everything. They can't afford it. So what do? They turn to bonds. They then have, and you can Google what I'm telling you, you have international infrastructure bonds. And this is the new finance options for public infrastructure. There's qualified public infrastructure bonds. Of the new bond proposals, QPIBs are the most straightforward. I don't know why they don't create a special fund with a bond having to do for the wall, and it's done that way. So that's it just makes no sense to me. And this is by the Brookings Institute. I think we're making a whole lot of rhetoric over nothing having to do with I see many articles here. Even November 15th, Trump's infrastructure push raises long bond hopes. Bonds are the way to go. That's that for this wall. You create wall bonds. Wall bonds. Makes no sense. There's many ways to find this these few billions of dollars that we need to build this wall. Okay? Many ways, and that would not cost the taxpayer shit. They just need to cut lots of spending and stop building around the country, around the world, and we'll be much better off. First off, but this is quite easy. I would still create a wall bond, get this project going, put into play. I would rebuild the main part of the border where you cross into Mexico. Totally change that around, put state-of-the-art for drug searching, toll paying, etc. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Mexico will start paying for the wall immediately. Put a toll on the border. Oh, there's no question about the reason we need a wall. I mean, it's a deterrent anyway. And it's there's more to this wall. It has to do with ground sensors, everything for tunneling, all kinds of good stuff. I think you're going to see healthcare stalled for a long time. I think it's going to be. Or they're going to push through some bullshit thing. Repeal and replace Obamacare. I say to you, regardless of how many millions are on it, think about all the millions that are not on it, and think about it imploding, and why are we keeping Obamacare for a select, we'll say, alleged 20 million people? Last time I checked, there's over 100 million people in the United States. And any news where the courts are at courts are at with immigration ban. It's in the Fourth Circuit, just so you know, waiting for a ruling there. Trump is hitting the Fourth Circuit first to see if they come out with a ruling to overrule all of them based on that appeal. So that's where we're at with that. Here, let me see if I can find for you. Appeal to Trump's travel ban. Current status. No, there's just the appeal still pending. They take a long time. The appeals, our courts, even for the president, take a long time. Right now it's sitting in the Fourth Circuit. Let me make sure. Yes, they're in Maryland, which is the Fourth Circuit. They're going after Judge Theodore Chang imposed a nationwide halt to the portion of the president's executive order that barred foreign nations from 6 major Muslim nations. The Department of Justice strongly disagreed. I agree. And just so you know, it is at the Fourth Circuit, like I said, and the Justice Department has not yet filed its formal appellate brief in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, where the case will eventually be heard, but that's the next step. Courts take, appeals take a while, even for anybody. However, this Wong, Chang's freaking order about Muslims from the campaign trail. This guy, none of these orders have a chance to stand if the judges do their job. If they follow the Constitution, Trump, it's a home run in the travel ban. I mean, that whole thing is a complete setup. It was a complete setup to stop Trump on travel ban, get people all upset, and to turn hatred against him for allegedly having it to be a Muslim ban, when in fact it's not a Muslim ban. If it was a Muslim ban, all countries with Muslims would be banned. Instead, they like to put the spin on it. So, big problems with cheating Chavez. It's more than just cheating on his wife. As I said earlier in my show, you're going to see a lot happen with Russiagate, and that's tomorrow night's show. I'm going to give you, unless some massive breaking news happens tomorrow, which I believe tomorrow and the next day, it's going to be bad. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Oh, excuse me, everybody. Amber, any news about the reason one of our U.S. Air Force pilots had to pull the emergency eject hatch while trying to land? I haven't heard about that, but I'm sure it was probably a malfunction on the plane. Our equipment, not our older equipment, so to speak, our newer. Yeah, I was going to say F-22s don't land on carriers, correct, Paul? But anything that goes on with these F-22s and these newer jets, please understand, these computer technologies, these planes cost, F-35, these planes cost lots of money, and $1 billion an aircraft. Has anybody ever thought of the possibility of just, why do we even need pilots anymore? No disrespect to pilots. For what, air to air? We have drones. Most pilots, most planes, we should be using drones to fight, to deal with things, drop munitions, everything else. We have such technology with drones. But I'm going to say something. A lot of these fancy aircraft have bad problems. Even our ships that have been built, okay, by these corporations, big defense contractors, they got nothing but problems, way over budget, and they're dangerous for our soldiers, and pilots to even use, because they're relying on computers, so much computer technology. Like the new one, the head, everywhere your head goes, excuse me, the helmet goes. So, I know it's only 9:30 in Arizona, but I've been up actually since 5:30, and I haven't been feeling well. It was an F-18, yeah, Paul. Paul's talking about the accident was from an F-18. These jets have complications, and shit happens. Sadly, but it does. But most of them are safe. Most of these pilots are very safe, even though they have a problem with these jets. They eject, and that's that. Is that my cell phone? I don't know. I hear my phone ringing. Either way, like I said, if you see these jets and they have a problem, and even our new, our helicopters, a lot of issues with helicopters, stealth helicopters. So yes, bad phone's ringing. I didn't tell anybody, but last night the reason why I wasn't live, I had to go get some blood tests, and because my osteomyelitis is running like crazy, and sure enough, they had to up my antibiotics, and I said I haven't been feeling well because I could become septic. Oh, let me go over something real quick with you guys, and I want to make this very clear. Give me 1 second. Let me find my Facebook for MFA. Oh, that's not MFA. That's Dawn. Pow! What? Okay. Dun dun dun. Gotta love these haters. Dun 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 dun. Okay. I'm gonna explain to you what's gonna go on here. And I'm gonna show you what I do best. And one thing I'm good at is court. Okay? And you may not be taking this too serious, but they should. I am launching and have our civil action against our hate groups, and it is massive. It's a very big action with a TRO. That is a temporary restraining order, and Facebook is also named in this lawsuit. It'll all be posted. The proof is being done the draft is being done this week by myself. It'll be proofed by attorneys, and then the following week it will be filed. And then all defendants will be served by sheriffs in their state and or process servers. I'm done fucking around. Okay? And I'm going to shut these people down, and every one of them, and I will take financially everything that they have. Because the libel, lose the words, the libel, the defamation, the harassment, the interference with a corporate enterprise, and then the same case is being forwarded and already set with the U.S. Attorney's Office. They're going to use the facts and the evidence there too to launch an official criminal investigation while the civil action is pending. I'm done. You will see a special page called MFAhaters.com. Right now it's parked on my internet company, Rainmaker Internet Services. The entire action will be placed on there after it's stamped and filed in the court in a PDF format. Everybody can reach it. If you've had any run-in with these haters, if they've contacted you, if they've harassed you, please message us. This is on behalf of MFA, MFA's members, at all. So, and every one of these fake pages that they have, and they have other fake organizations up now. They've stolen things off my wall. They've stolen videos. Now they're claiming that Master Wayne Enterprises, my other company, is a shell corporation. Sick people that we only used $35,000. Where's Scott making his money? Listen, pay attention. And they're saying that Don is just the sole owner of MFA. I mean, of Master Wayne, and that, you know, it's a shell company. These people wouldn't even know what the definition of a shell company is. Okay? Master Wayne Enterprises owns numerous other corporations. They're under numerous websites they're under. He gets paid on a regular basis from them. You would never know who they are. We don't have to report how much money is made from MFA and who it goes to. The IRS is the only one that gets that. Okay? Not you assholes. Pay attention. You guys have robbed, pillaged, harassed, libeled, defamed, slandered, and you think you're going to get away with it? I guarantee you, I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to legally fucking crush you. And if you own your house, I'm taking it. And if you don't think I can do it, which most of you don't have shit anyway, you're losers. Maybe I'll take Wilbur's trailer and kick him to the fucking curb. Right? No. Pay attention. Whole website dedicated to this. All legalities, all legal, all shown to you. I'm not waiting on legal authorities anymore. I'm going to do what I do best, and this is how I crush public officials. Previously, that the haters claim I never won those suits, but no, they were settled in my favor. Okay? So, pay attention. When the sheriff comes knocking to serve you the papers, And you must appear in court. Pay attention. In my state, in the state of our corporation, you must appear. If you don't, judgment will be entered against you. And that judgment is going to include financial, not just financial. I'm going to ask the judge to order criminal charges for acute, and a civil judge can do that. So now I'm going to show you what 25 years of law has done for me. Because my patients and other people's patients are done. Finished. And think I'm fucking around, because I'm not. Understand this. You have no clue what you're doing. You're deranged. And you're not smashing my name anymore, and believe me, Facebook's going right with you. And I will win against Facebook. Facebook's in serious trouble. They've left websites up, and I don't mean not in serious trouble for me. In other areas, leaving videos up at all. I'm going to jump right on the bandwagon because they shouldn't be allowing harassment, libel, all the above, and they will shut your sites down and all IP address. That's what I'm asking the judge to do. I don't want money from Facebook. I want you to be permanently banned. I guarantee you I will win it. And any assholes watching this who I have taken in court know I'm telling the truth. I had a whole county in Scranton try to put 60 false charges on me. Do you know where they all went? I didn't even use a lawyer. They tried to set me up, and you know what? I was the lawyer. You know where all the charges went? Poof. Have a nice day, because they were all bullshit, and I did them myself. Pay attention, because my patients are done. Understand, this civil action will be filed. It's in the process right now, and I can assure you it will be publicly made, publicly shared, and everybody will be kept up to date with all court filings, where it is, when it's done. I'm making this my personal 24/7 project until every one of you is served and every one of you goes down. And trust me, that's that. Pack your shit. And if you do own a house or a car or have any money in the bank, I suggest you sell it because I'm going to take it, especially the top 5 assholes. But I know you don't own shit. You're all losers. You don't have nothing. You don't do nothing for the country. You do nothing for yourselves. You do nothing but harass people. You sit up there and try to claim that you don't even know what a shell company is. Mr. Binsack this, Mr. Binsack that. All your shit's going to come down eventually, and I'm telling you, I'm going to make sure you're perp walked on the civil walk. Trust me. And you will be all over the internet. And this site will be up forever with your names and everything, as this action is as well. I'm done. And mark my words, this is not a prep. This is not some bullshit. This is not anything. I can assure you. I will bet my daughter's life on it. I'm taking you, not just to court. I'm going to take everything you have and make sure you sick fucks can't do this to anybody else. Not my family, not my kids, not our members, not anything. Because you're deranged. And I got enough shit on you from private investigators and legal authorities to surely prove this case of how you've libeled my name, MFAs, my daughters, her mothers, members, harassed them, Brian, all these people, you're all named. Pay attention. I don't need the legal authorities to do what I've been waiting for them to do. I'm going to do it myself and force it. Force it. You think it's just a civil action? No, pay attention. Civil actions can be used to do many, many things. And I got a home run case. Home run. Now, I'm done. And this civil action, trust me, everybody, you'll see it all. I will keep you up to date on it. You'll get full copies of it. It'll be filed in court, stamped. And as everyone served, everyone document, I'm going to have a volunteer monitor, scan, put on the site. Scan, put on the site. So all of them are going to have to get on planes and cars and drive. Fly, get on the train, plane. And if you don't, I'm going to get a judgment against you, and I will get a TRO right away. You know how the court just put it on Donald Trump illegally? I'm going to put it on you legally. And I will get Facebook enjoined to take your shit down pending the outcome of this action. Understand this. And this is not some threat, no idle threat, no perks, no bullshit. You're fucking done. Good night. God bless.